Hi, I'm Ben, and this is my review on Sonic Prime, the Netflix series. They only released 8 episodes, but I heard there's 24, so I'll have to check. Now, if you want to know what's playing in the background on my TV, the TV's on, and it's playing the Simpsons episode where Jay Sheeran, the critic, comes to visit and there's that film festival, but that's not important. Anyway, Sonic Prime. This has been one of my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog series. Cause see, before Sonic Prime came out, I liked the other Sonic series, but I always wanted a Sonic series that's CGI like the video games, that tried to do what Sonic Boom does, that has the characters, but tries to be more faithful to the video games, somewhat what Sonic X tried to do, but minus Chris Thorndike. And try to tell a gripping, epic story, kind of like what the Sad AM series did. Well, apparently, what's remotely close to what I'm describing is Sonic Prime. It delivers. In this version, now, for those of you who haven't seen it, spoiler warning, major spoilers. But what's great about this series is that this is by Man of Action, the same people that brought us Ben 10, Generator Rex. I remember growing up watching Ben 10. And the last show video game adaptation they did was Mega Man. They actually did a Mega Man series, and they even do both this series and this one does video game pixelite cutscenes, which is pretty great. But I feel like the problem with Mega Man is that it was by Cartoon Network and they want to aim it for little kids. That's why you kind of see the writing for Mega Man, the show Fully Recharged, kind of more for younger audience. Like I actually own a Mega Man comic based off the series, loosely based off the series, but it's more serious. I feel like that was the story they wanted to tell, and this one was just Cartoon Network's interference and trying to make it for little kids. But Sonic Prime isn't by Netflix, which it might be, I mean, not by Cartoon Network, which might be a good thing. This is by Netflix. And this is a show I highly recommend if you have Netflix, watch. And if you're a Sonic fan, watch. It opens with Sonic fighting Dr. Eggman, and actually taking place in Green Hills. Like, this is what I want. As much as I like the previous Sonic movies, this is what I want for a Sonic animated movie, like Green Hill Zone, him catching the rains, and there's rains in here, like in the video games. You can tell Man of Action is a big Sonic fan if they're doing this. And Shadow plays a part in this. Like, it's not like the other Sonic Boom series where he's just in the 2 finales, but here he actually has a part to play, and it's really cool. I like the animation. It's by Wildbrain or I forget what their name's called, but they're the same people that did Ninjago, but I heard they order new computers to CGI to make it look more epic, and this really delivers on the epicness and animation. Really feels Sonic, really loose and open. I like the casting choices for the show. They capture Sonic, and there's also a lot of Sonic references, like Sonic types in a code to enter Tails' workshop, and it's 1992, which I believe might be the same year that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Tails came out, which is a cool reference. Now, the multiverse. Like a lot of shows, everything's about the multiverse. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Doctor Strange, He-Man did a comic, believe it or not. Yeah, for those of you who don't know this, He-Man did a comic called He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. I'll get it later, but yeah, a lot of things are doing the multiverse, and this is no exception. And I like seeing all these different multiverse. The main one we're on is in a futuristic looking series, and there are some parallels to Half-Life, the video game Half-Life 2. Like, it opens with a takeover in the city, and then they escape, and then there's a scene where Sonic travels to another dimension, and then he comes back, and he's like, "You've been gone for weeks," and there's an alliance rising up to take them down. And yeah, that's kind of like Half-Life 2, but anyways, in this version, it's really intense. Like Tails, he's called 9 in this version, and he has like robotic Dr. Octopus spider legs or something. And Rouge or Rogue, as she's called in this version, with Knuckles, they're both like rebel alliances that need to fight against the Eggman Empire, or they're called the Council, and there's like the classic Dr. Eggman with a wig, old man Eggman, and an old man Eggman, and a cool teen whatever Eggman, and a baby Eggman, and this samurai cool guy Eggman guy, and it's all and it's all and they're all trying to stop Doctor Sonic the Hedgehog and trying to harness power. Now Amy's in this, but she's like a robot. There's an robotic Amy, and it's kind of like in the other series where they got roboticized. Remember in the '90s series, like the Sad AM series and Underground, where they're like where they get roboticized? Like she's fully on roboticized, and she's trying, and they kind of reprogram her, and she's like, "You're my friend, Amy." And then they're like, "Whoa." So then she tries to save Amy. She tries to save Amy, but then they go. But then they try. But after that, But then they go to another universe, like Tails, who's really deep and sad in this. Like, there's a backstory where he was like, like they showed like he had bullies picking on him, picking on Tails for his extra chill, but then Sonic saved him. But there's a universe, but this is a universe where Sonic doesn't exist, and it's kind of like that Sonic Boom episode where Sonic doesn't exist and Eggman taking over, but this one's really gets intense. And Sonic steals the shattered, and Sonic try. But here, Tails is bullied, but he's bullied all his life, and then he builds robotic legs and calls himself Nine, and then yeah, and then but then he's like sad, and then there's a scene where he steals the shattered crystal and runs away with it, but he traveled the world and finds shadow species of other worlds and the other worlds. Okay, so apparently it's created because Eggman's trying to look for a crystal called the Paradox Prism, and Sonic jumps up but slams it, and they're like, "Sonic, no!" But I think here's how it got created. I think it broke their realities, unlike them going to other dimensions and having them just exist. They're created because of the Paradox Prism, and because it broke off, it created separate. It broke up the original universe and created a different universe, like the Evil City universe. And now there's another city where there. And now there's another city where, I mean, there's a jungle universe. Like he goes to a jungle universe, and Amy is like this jungle hunter that's against her friends, but Sonic has to help them, tries to get their friends, but Amy and all the other friends are not together, and Tails is different in this one, like he's like a badger. I should mention about Rouge. So Rouge the Bat, if you remember in Sonic X, she's like, I'm sexy, I'm Rouge the Bat. But here, because there's different variants, they kind of changed her character. Well, there's different variants of her, and I feel like these are different personalities. Like, she's kind of like a commanding leader, she takes things more seriously. There's like more personality with her, which I actually really like. And Big the Cat's in this, and he's not played. He is a little bit stupid in the other universes, but he's kind of funny stupid, and he's really nice. Like in one universe, he helps Rouge and Knuckles get away in the evil city, and he even joins the Alliance. So he goes back. So Sonic goes back to the evil futuristic universe, but he also helps Amy, and Amy's like this evil jungle lady who's like, I want to protect the forest, but then she's like, what have I done? I darkened the forest, and then they and then Sonic is like tries to talk to them out to each other, like tries to find a peaceful solution, which I find really sweet. I see that his personality was described is kind of arrogant, full of himself, and taking his friends for granted. But here he's trying to develop and trying to take things seriously. Like, I notice a lot of Man of Action projects, like Ultimate Spider-Man and Ben 10. Like, they try to start the character arrogant, but try to develop it. But here they're trying to do it better here than what Ben 10, Alien Force, and Ultimate Aliens did. Because here he started as, in Ben 10, like, he started as being a more serious commanding leader in like Alien Force, but then in Ultimate Aliens in the later seasons, he's like, I'm gonna be a jerk for some reason, and a lot of people were upset about that. But here, I like that they do try to reconcile with the friends and realize that now there is kind of a subtle environmental message in these episodes, like, you know how the Sad AM series kind of had a subtle environmental message that didn't tell you anything? It knocked you in the head in the jungle episodes, but then, but there are a lot of subtlety, like them trying to protect a tree and trying to get back their forest, but in the city universe, but yes, but then there's one which I like, the pirate universe. Here, Knuckles is a pirate, and he's like, ahoy mateys, and they even talk, and it's all their friends talking pirates. And there is a cool addition where Sonic gets new shoes and gloves in like the city universe, but when he travels to other universes, he gets new gloves and shoes. I think that's a good idea to sell different action figures, but it is a cool addition to match the universes he's traveling to. But yeah, the pirate universe was pretty interesting, and Knuckles is more nicer. And there's another cutscene with the Shatterverse, with the dimension thing, with the and what was I talking about? But yeah, I mean, there was another cutscene with the Pixel dimension where, I mean, the Pixel cutscene, and they show like Knuckles and Sonic's backstory of how they met. But this Knuckles was friendly and likes to party, but he's like, I used to be a scallywag, but then my crew abandoned me, and I thought that was pretty interesting how they did it. Very different, and then they try. And then they travel to another dimension where they. Oh no, wait. Then at the end of the episode, the robot Amy because they kidnapped Tails, and at the back of the computer, the Evil City universe, they got Tails, but Tails had his own ship that he travels to other shatter spaces, as he calls them. But now the Eggman Council harness the power, and then they try to steal it. They try to bring it back in his, but then they travel to his dimension in my Looney Tunes clock, and it's Pepe Le Pew. Then they travel to his dimension. I mean, they travel to the pirate dimension, but it's Amy with the robot, and then they try to find the other dimension, but then they realize that. But then Amy and Pirate Amy met each other, and I think she was trying to get her memory back. But then they were trying to go back and trying to get back as they call it, the Devil's Lighthouse. But it's actually a piece of the shard they're trying to look for, and the shard. And then there's a cool epic scene with pirates and robots fighting, which is pretty awesome. And then they go and find the shard, but then Sonic gets trapped. Sonic gets stolen back, and then the shard teleports him into like a limbo universe with all the dimensions, and he runs into Shadow, because Shadow is like going him from different dimensions, like it's your fault, but he was like, Sonic, keep running, and then he goes back and he's like, it's your fault, you created this, and then there's an epic fight, and that's how it ends. So that's 8 episodes, part 1 of part 1 of part 1, but I wonder what's going to happen next. I can't wait. I can't wait for the next episode, if they're gonna air it. I don't know when they're gonna air it, but I can't wait. So Sonic Prime. It's one of the best Sonic shows. I really love it. I hope you all love it too. Can't wait to see more episodes of what happens next. Like, are they gonna rescue Nine? Are they gonna get back to the other universe? Or what's gonna happen? Can't wait to know what happens next. So, take care. I find it very interesting that, because I've seen other shows where there's, like, I was watching The Flash, and there's like different timelines where they travel back in time but change the timeline, and then there's parallel universes. But this is kind of like a merge between both. Like, the Paradox Prism separated the universe but created the original universe but created other universes, which has which changed it a bit. So that's kind of interesting how they did. I wonder what's gonna happen next. Can't wait to see more and what Shadow's up to. And take care.